Welcome to Digital Marketing Intelligence Ask the Experts, a live bi-weekly show to help you know what to do and what's new in digital marketing for 2021 and beyond. Ask questions, suggest topics, and grow faster with actionable insights and proven strategies from the world's leading experts. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Digital Marketing Intelligence for Entrepreneurs. Ask the Experts. I'm Marissa Morgan, your show host, and I'm also the Business Development Manager at Ngagge. If you're just joining us, if this is your first live or replayed Ngagge Digital Marketing Intelligence show, I want to introduce you to our brand, Ngagge. What we are is a cloud-based software platform that gives you the tools you need to grow and to scale your business in 2021 and beyond. And most importantly, if you can't tell from our name, Ngagge, which is spelled cleverly, Ngagge, sounds like engaging, engage with your customers, spelled differently. But if you can't tell from our name, we are all about engaging with your customers where they are. And we all know that in today's day and age, our customers are all over the place, but when we do the research and we figure out where they are, then we can engage with our target demographic where they are, right? Whether that is on Instagram or Facebook, whether it is primarily on your website. And our platform gives you the tools you need to not only engage with your customers, but our tools are free forever. And our tools also help you to optimize your customer experience. If you'd like to know more about our platform, you can check it out after today's show. It's ngagge.com. Check it out after today's show. And of course, if you'd ever like a free demo of our platform, you can contact myself, Marissa, at marissa.m@ngagge.com, and I can walk you through our platform and show you all of our incredible tools. We also just launched a new program recently called Ngagge Live. If you're someone who's interested in perhaps starting your own podcast or starting your own live stream, but you're not sure where to start or how to do it, we can help you and walk you through exactly how to do that, or we can do it for you. So check out our new program at ngagelive.com. Okay, welcome to today's show. Without further ado, I want to dive into today's topic, and I want to introduce you to today's special guest. Our special guest is a CRO expert, and today is show 4 of our 4-part series with him. And today we're talking about landing page optimization. That is part 4 of 4. And our 4-part series is really all about how to increase your conversions by more than 200%. And the last part of that is landing page optimization. I'll introduce you to our guest in just a moment, but I'm excited because today we're going to be featuring 2 different company pages, and our guest will be performing a live landing page optimization for us to really understand and put together everything that we've talked about in this 4-part series. Okay, without further ado, I want to bring him on board. His name is Colin Lepiscopo, and he's joining us from sunny San Diego, where he had to do a little leapfrogging and moving and shucking this week because of some crazy stuff happening where he lives and some internet outages. So we're really excited that he was able to make it for today's show. And I want to thank you so much, Colin, for joining us. If you don't know who Colin is, you need to. Because Colin is not only the director of campaign strategy for the Global Leadership Network and has 8 years of experience in marketing live events, TV productions, Broadway musicals, best-selling books, and online products, but he is also the founder of Meta, which is a CRO agency that helps businesses grow and helps businesses understand and improve their conversion rates through CRO, conversion rate optimization. Colin is also a jiu-jitsu blue belt who trains in San Diego. And I want to invite you to join our conversation today. If you have any questions for the last part of this 4-part series or comments for Colin, you can drop those down below in the comment section. Okay, Colin, without further ado, this is the grand finale, and I promised fireworks.
Yes. I
But
was
hey,
gonna
I'm having
ask.
an internet issue on my end too, Colin. Can't make that
Oh,
happen today.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really unfortunate. No worries. Yeah, I probably have a better background here because I'm at my mother-in-law's house, and she's got a good setup here. So yeah, I'm on my remote setup. So hopefully everything seems to be working, and we're ready to go. So you
Well,
know,
listen,
I'm ready for
you are
fireworks on my end.
you know about Broadway musicals. You've helped market them. You know that the show must go on.
Oh yeah.
I've got a lot of theater and TV hosting, live TV background as well. So the show must go on. We're going to make this work, and I'm excited. So if you're watching live right now on LinkedIn, make sure you drop us a comment in the comment section. Let us know where you're joining us from. I'm broadcasting live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and again, as I mentioned, Colin is live right now from sunny San Diego. So welcome again to the show, Colin. And thank you so much for offering up a 4-part series with us and sharing with us all about how we can use CRO to increase our conversion rates. For our audience who is just tuning in, maybe for the first time, and they've not watched the replay of our past shows, let's give them an overview of what show 1, show 2, and show 3 discussed, because those 3 shows really set us up for today's show, our
Yeah,
grand
yeah.
finale.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely go check out the prior parts to this series if you're, especially if you are watching live today, or you come across this video and you're like, hey, I really like this. This is good stuff. You'll get a lot of context that will help today's session. Um, Kind of just you'll get more out of it,
Mhm.
because you'll have a little bit more context as to kind of like what changes to make, and the ideas and kind of frameworks behind those changes, instead of just kind of like making a change. You're like, okay, well, I'm not quite sure what that's going to do, but because we're going to get a little bit more into like tactics today. So and to kind of just give you a quick overview, like we talked about what CRO is, that's conversion rate optimization. And to put it really briefly, it's increasing the number of conversions. It's increasing that percentage conversion, that metric on your page. It's like, how do you go about doing that, right? So that's what conversion rate optimization is. And we talked a little bit about mindset, about how most people, their default mode is a company kind of mindset rather than the customer mindset, and kind of thinking about their customer's experience and how their customer interacts with their brand and their product and services. And in session 2, we talked about the relationship between value and cost, and how that's constantly something that consumers are they're running that equation in their mind with every single interaction with a brand that they have, and really throughout your day, you're thinking about like, do I want to drive to the store? Like, is it worth it? Do I really need that milk? This is just part of our behavior and part of our decision making process. It's all value costs. And then we talked about the importance of a value proposition, which is ultimately it's that it answers the question. It's the response to, why do I need this product, or why do I need this service, or why do I want to work with this brand, and how we answer that. And then in the third session, we talked about the thought sequence of the prospect or the customer, the potential customer that might be hitting your page. What are they thinking? What are the questions in their mind? And then how does the flow of your sales page or landing page answer those questions, and answer them at the right time and in the right order, that will ultimately lead to that conversion. And then today we're gonna get into like, okay, got it. I'm getting that stuff. I'm gelling with it. How do I optimize my page? What changes can I actually make? How do I approach it? And that's what we're going to get into today.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to kind of see you in action, because we've talked a lot about what to do. You've given everybody actionable takeaways at the end of every show. And now we're going to do a landing page optimization live on today's show. But before we do that, let's give everybody an idea of how we're going to work through today's talk. So, we're talking about how to increase conversions by more than 200%, right? And today we're talking landing page optimization. So, we're going to talk about what that is with Colin. And then he's going to walk us through a live optimization. And then obviously, he's going to leave us with this actionable takeaway, which is how to optimize your landing pages using what you've learned. And then, most importantly, Colin, and you've stressed this every single time we've had a show, then it's all about testing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is how we figure out if our conclusions are correct, if our hypothesis is correct. It must be tested. So you're kind of becoming a scientist in the internet laboratory a little bit. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, a comment from the viewer audience. Jamie says she's here. She can't wait.
Awesome.
By the way, we did pick two different companies whose websites we're going to look at. Colin, are we going to be okay to do both of them? Will we have time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Super.
I believe so. We'll kind of just let me know. We'll kind of leave some time for that, and
Great. Great. Well,
yeah, we can
Jamie,
go from there.
congratulations. Your company was chosen, My Starry Chart. And then we have another company named Voter or Vote Frenzy. Frank Ramirez was our second winner. So those are the two websites Colin will do a live optimization on in just a little bit. So don't go anywhere. And let's just kick off the show with a little bit of information and understanding and background for myself and our audience, Colin,
Yeah.
about what landing page optimization is and what it does.
Yeah. So basically, it's any landing. Like, so what is a landing page, right? Let's just start with
Mhm,
that because I think
mhm,
that's the basics, but we all know should know what that is. And this is any page on our site that we're directing people to where they're going to land. That's why it's called a landing page, right? So this means
mhm.
if you have some PPC ads, that means like Facebook and Google ads. If you have some calls to action in your emails. Anywhere where they're going to land on a specific page on your site that isn't necessarily like your homepage. So we're going to be looking at some home pages later and do some optimization there, and we can certainly poke around. We'll kind of poke around a little bit on those sites, but this is a specific page that you've sent them to, and it typically has like an action that you want them to take, right? Like you've got a promotion in an email. Hey, we've got a Halloween special this month, and they're sending you to a page that has hopefully sometimes it doesn't, but hopefully they're sending you to this page that is directly a result of clicking on that link in that email, and it's a special promotion for that Halloween special or whatever. So that's what we're talking about with the landing page. Typically, it's like a product page, or maybe it's a product category page. That could be a landing page. So it could be any of these pages. It could be an opt-in, any of these pages on your site where you're just like specifically directing traffic to. That's kind of what we're talking about. So you can obviously do an optimization on the whole site. We'll be looking at home pages, and you can optimize a home page. You can optimize pop-ups. I mean, everything can be optimized, and most of these things can be tested. If you're using something like Opt-in Monster or some of these other tools on your site for pop-ups, a lot of times they have built-in A/B testing. If you use TubeBuddy, you can A/B test thumbnails, on your YouTube channel and copy and all these things. So, even email platforms have a lot of built-in A/B testing. So split testing isn't anything new. It's just like you need kind of like the frameworks and what to test and how to go about it. So anything can be optimized, but today we're going to specifically talk about landing pages. But a lot of these principles can be applied to other areas of your site and other areas of your marketing as well.
Colin, I want to ask you, when clients come to you looking for your help and maybe do this initial sit down and you open up, let's just say their initial web page. So it is truly the landing page for their company. Are there a couple things that you tend to notice right away that you find need immediate attention, basically? Are there some big blunders that a lot of your clients do off the bat, or misconceptions, right, that they come to you with?
Yeah, sure. Good question. So, a lot of times people will have specific problems, and if they have a marketing background, they'll kind of know like, hey, we know this is working, we know this is working, but we're having a problem here. So they kind of like usually will know what their problem is. And there's some people that they're like, hey, I just don't know what my problem is. Like I'm able to get traffic, but it's not converting. That's
Mhm.
usually the big problem that a lot of people have, and that's when they go, okay, I know I need CRO, or I've been told it's a CRO problem. And there could be other problems there too. It could be a product mismatch or something else, but that's more of a business issue. But when you look at a site generally, that's why we did kind of a whole session on value proposition, because that's usually one of the key things that's missing. So that's um, a I would say substance problem. And we can
Mhm.
kind of talk about the two main things for landing page optimization, which is form and substance. So a lot of times it's a substance problem. And there's missing um, language there that's going to communicate value and help potential prospects draw a conclusion, right? So if you have them on your homepage, you want to think about like what do they need to know and what do you want them to do? those are questions you can ask yourself. Um, and if you're like, hey, I want them to know that they've reached a website where they can buy some Halloween products that are only going to be around for 15 more days, right? So that needs to be clear if that's what the site is all about, you know. And then what can they do? Like, oh, you can check out the categories of products here or whatever it is. But a lot of times that's missing. And then ultimately the reason why they should take whatever action you want them to take is missing as well, which is that's the value proposition. It's that ultimate answer to like, why am I buying these Halloween products for you rather than there's Halloween products everywhere? You know, you can see these pop-ups all over the place. If you think about that, like as if that's kind of the thing, it's like, well, why am I going to Party City or Target or the special like spirit shop that pops up, you know, rather than these other places, you know? Like I could come up with a good value proposition for spirit because it's all about Halloween. There's more variety, right? I know like I can go there and there's going to be way more Halloween stuff. I walked into Target the other, like maybe a few days ago, and I'm probably a little late, right? We're 2 weeks out, and it was cleaned out. Like there was just
Mm-hmm.
nothing in there. Like the shelves were empty. So, and I know there's like supply chain issues still going on from the pandemic, um, but I bet you Spirit is chock full of Halloween stuff. They probably have stuff from last year, but that's okay. So it's really just that differentiation, that exclusivity. Like a lot of times that's missing. You know, sometimes people will get the what right, like, hey, here's who we are, here's what we do, but that reason why people should keep digging or work with your company is missing. It's that reason why.
So value proposition is obviously a big part of obviously not only your branding, but ultimately those conversions. Because if it's not clear on your website, if it's not clear on your landing page, as we learned, and also if the CTA isn't there, I know that's something I remember from a previous show. If you're not clear on what you want that visitor to do, then that visitor may just be left to their own devices and say, okay, well, that was a nice webpage. Or, yeah,
Yeah.
that company looks like they might offer me something, but I'm not sure at this time, you know? And then also one thing I remember too, Colin, that you brought up was this idea that we have to make sure that what we're offering is easy for the visitor or your lead to actually find, that the, you know, if you're offering a downloadable copy of your book, that when they're taken to your website, that downloadable copy of their book is very accessible and they're not left really searching through a landing page for what they're
Oh
looking for.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the correlation between like, you know, we talked a little bit about orientation,
Hmm.
and that can go into this as well. But yeah, if you're setting up an expectation for, hey, when you click this button, this is
Yeah.
what you're going to get on the other side. You definitely want to make sure that's what they're going to get on the other side, and that's the page that they're going to go to. And you know, we talked a little bit about like when someone's in their let's just do email. When someone's in their inbox and they click on an email, they it takes a couple seconds or it takes a second, but they're going to land somewhere. They're going to go somewhere. And I just I'll talk about a recent conversion I did because it's kind of interesting. But um, you need to be reoriented once you land there and make sure you're in the right place. Like I click this button and it's supposed to take me to a page where I can download a free ebook. If you land somewhere where you're not sure where you are, like that's when you're now decreasing your conversions. If they have to like look to figure that out, it doesn't clearly say like this is the page you wanted, you're in the right place. You know, that's kind of what we talked about with orientation. And I'll give an example. And I again, I don't want to out anybody, but I'll just say who it was because you'll probably be surprised that how the lack of optimization. But it was the AMA. Okay, I recently did a conversion with the AMA, and I was texting, you know, one of my mentors who also went through it, and I said, "Boy, that checkout was something else." and um, and I said it caused some anxiety for me. Right? We talked about anxiety because
Hmm.
I went through this checkout, and it was sending me it was sending me through like space warps. I felt like I went through a wormhole or something. It was like it was loading and redirecting, and I went somewhere, and I'm like, okay, like literally, I was like, am I in the right place? Am I still in the checkout? This looks completely different. And I would click to the next step. I go through like another time warp, and it's like warp drive, like in
Yeah.
Star Wars or something.
Yeah.
And I'd land in another place. I'm like, am I still in the checkout? I'm like, okay, this is looking a little familiar. I can put in my information. And then I'm like, I'm not sure what I got here. I don't even know if they had a proper confirmation set up. I think they kind of had something. And so I finished that process. And then I did have some issues actually getting in. I had to have a friend help me get in. So I don't something happened with the email there. But again, not to out the AMA, but there was a lot of
What is
anxiety
the
there.
AMA, Colin? I thought you were
The,
talking about
the,
the American Music Awards at
Sorry,
first.
the American Marketing Association.
Ah, I
So
was
this
like, the
was the
American
American
Music
Marketing
Awards was a shopping
Association.
site?
Yeah, this is the American Marketing Association. It was a training that they did. Awesome
Got it.
training, awesome content. Like they're great, but their checkout definitely needs some help. And and he was just like some anxiety, like that was crazy. So if I'm experiencing that and just aware of it, I'm sure people are and they're leaving at that stage because there's just too much going on there. So there was a lack of orientation. There could have been a value proposition present. Like you want a holistic approach to that. Like keep telling them what they're getting. Like beat that drum like of value. Like this is why you're making this decision. This is why you're making this decision. And they'll keep seeing that. And it might even just be subliminal. Like the reason that they're continuing on through the steps, whatever your checkout is, hopefully it's kind of streamlined. That is there for them to see. So like that was missing. That would have helped. Maybe like even just some like transparency is like, hey, this you're gonna be redirected to the tell me what the next step is, and then I can expect
Mm.
it and I'm okay. Like you can be transparent. There's sometimes you have to go through compliance things, right? And checkout gets, especially with things like alcohol, and checkout can be a little bit clunky. Just make that obvious. Say, hey, you know what? We're going to go through a quick compliance check. It's going to take 2 seconds, and then you're going
Mm-hmm.
to land into your cart. Let them know what they can expect. David Lanning talks about this when there's like a negative customer experience. Be transparent about it because for two reasons. Like the negative experience would be like, hey, I'm going to experience this long load time during this checkout. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a small inconvenience, but it's enough that somebody might not convert. Let them know that's going to happen. Just say, hey, there's going to be a quick load time here while we do this compliance check. Whatever. You can give them some info on that, and then now they know what to expect, and they don't feel as bad about it because. And the two things are: one, they know that there's a negative experience; they're going to experience it. So you not announcing it makes them lose trust. That's the second thing. So whenever you've identified like, oh yeah, customers aren't going to like this. This is a clear negative experience they're going to have. Just be transparent about it because they know it's there. You can't hide it. That's the worst thing you can do is try to hide it. Ignoring it is a bad option because again, they know it's there and they know you didn't say anything about it. So you always want to like address it. So I know we kind of went down a rabbit hole, but
No, I
some
think
really
that was
important
great that
steps.
you brought that up, Colin, because I know I've experienced that, and I've experienced both ends of that spectrum where as a customer, I've had the dots pop up or what I call the pinwheel of mystery,
Yes.
right? And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, well, I just not pinwheel of death, pinwheel of mystery. What is
Yeah.
going to happen?
Where
But
am I going? What's
yeah, I
happening right now?
just put my credit card information in. And then there's this big pause and this mysterious moment, and the computer's thinking, but I don't know. Is it my computer?
Yeah.
Is it their
Yeah.
website?
What
Is
is
it,
happening right
do I
now?
have to put my credit card information again? Should I go back? Did it even go
Yeah.
through? Did someone just steal my identity? Like there's all these things that happen in your head. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I've been a customer on a website where it says, this is now going to go into a processing mode. This may take several minutes. Do not click back, right?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
not
You've
do
seen some of
this.
those.
Don't
Yeah.
worry. It's
Yeah.
okay. Like, and then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just go refresh my coffee. And when I come back, my purchase will have been made. You're right. Confidence gets
Yes.
instilled in the customer.
Yeah, there's some trust there. Yeah, we could definitely talk about that whole like loading thing because a lot of times they'll do those with like white pages and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where they're or the yellow pages. Maybe that's more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's trying to get information on people and they're like, okay, just one more step. We're gonna send you everything. Their criminal backgrounds and oh
Yes.
they've been in jail and they've done this and you're like, oh what?
Yes.
They're trying to get you to complete a certain amount of steps and then
Yes.
you
Because then
kind
you're
of
vested.
Yeah,
Ah,
you kind of get a little bit of the sunk cost fallacy going on there, where you're like, well, I've clicked too many buttons, and I'm 80% there. I might as well finish it out. And you also see this on websites that do like things like, hey, you're almost to free shipping, or you're almost to this next step, and it's got a meter that's filling up. And as humans, we just want to, oh, well, I got to fill that meter. Like, what else do I got to add to
mm-hmm,
my cart to fill that meter?
mm-hmm.
And then you also see some other like kind of savvy websites. They have fun with it. They're just like, hey, the hamsters are working in the wheel, or they'll kind of put something funny there because they realize like, hey, this is going to load. It has to load. How can we like entertain the customer a little bit while they wait for this like load? Because nobody wants to wait for stuff, especially in our culture. It's like we want things now, want things quick, and we expect that as well. Like there's an expectation of it being quick. So there's fun things that you can do. If there's something clearly negative, you can be transparent. Most people understand when something's loading, but again, any little like indication of what's going on is definitely helpful. It's imagine if you were just like talking to somebody, and all of a sudden they just like they did a pause, and sometimes
They
people
were
will
like
even
this.
say,
Ready? Wait, let's pretend, Colin. So you and I are having a talk.
yes.
Absolutely, Colin. And then can you
Did
imagine?
something, and
Versus
what's the first thing you think? You're like, did it stop? Did
you're like,
did you
is she
did you
frozen?
freeze up? Is everything okay? Like is
Right.
so
Versus da da da. Yes, Colin. And then hang on a second. Let me get my next thought.
yeah. Let me process that a little bit.
Oh yeah, this is what I meant to say.
Yeah,
Right. Can
yeah.
you imagine if
It's
humans did that?
no,
Oh,
it's great to put it into human terms and in the context of like a conversation, because that's really what it is. It's like you're having a conversation
right.
with your customer prospect with your website, like, and they don't want to interact with a website. They want to interact with a person. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's why people would rather get on the phone. They'd rather get on a chat. So if you can talk to them like they're a person, not like they're some robot or something reading your website, it's gonna go far. So, but I would like to kind of like direct a little bit of like, okay, I got my page. How do I optimize it? So I kind of hinted at this a little bit before. You've got two directions you can go, kind of. Now you can do both at the same time, but I just want you to think about like kind of the two maybe buckets or categories. One is form and one is substance. So we talk about substance. That's like what is actually on your page. That's the copy. That's the images. That's maybe the video, the animations, the titles, the subheadings. That's all of the the parts of the page. And then when you think of the form, that's like what is the outline of it. So like if there's substance, that's kind of what's written in the titles. If there's form, it's how many like titles and subtitles are on the page. So if that makes
Okay.
sense. So
Okay.
it's like where things are oriented, how things move. So you want to think about a few those two things as you go about. You're like, do I want
It's
to
kind of like,
focus on what's in
mhm.
those frames, like what's in the form, which is the substance, or do I want to focus on the form, which is maybe I move this image over here, maybe we remove the image, right? That would be making a form change. If you're changing the image, I would say that's a substance change. So hopefully that makes sense.
I want to use an analogy and I think
Yeah.
it works. It's really like your design, right? Design being the substance. Like I've got 2 bathrooms in this house, 4 bedrooms in this house. The design is the features, but the blueprint is how
Right.
everything's laid out. So is that a fair analogy?
Yeah, exactly. And
Great.
and also, yeah, what is there, right? Are there extra rooms? Are there extra attachments? All of those things. So that's what you can think about. You can think like, oh, maybe I don't have enough like call to action buttons, right? That would be like, okay, we're gonna change the form a little bit and add some more. So think about it in terms of those two things. And again, one of the things I always talk about is for substance is like for the value proposition. So, and then again, we're talking about a specific landing page here. So it's going to have a goal. Okay. So the next thing would be like focus on the goal of that page. So if the goal of that page is like, we'll go with our example of a free download. The goal of that page is to acquire a lead, an email address, whatever. So everything on that page should be about that goal. So focusing on the goal of the page is step one. Like I recently optimized a page, and my boss comes in, he's like, hey, can you optimize this page? Like we've got a kind of a promo coming up in a week. And so there were two things on there. There were clearly two different goals on that page already. And so I just like went to him. I was like, well, what's the goal of this page? And he's like, man, right to the basics, huh? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Like we missed that. We didn't get that right. So we made it clear what we wanted them to do. Like, cause there was hey, they can go and kind of go down this one path of like support, and there's some additional videos and some other things, or they could go down this path like, hey, there's this promotional opportunity. It's like, let's make it's about the promotion. Like, let's not beat around the bush. So we did that, and it was like 100% increase in conversions just from that very simple change of focusing on the page. Because when you present all these other options or all these other things people can do, they will do them. They will do them. They will become distracted, or they will become interested. So I want you to think about it as you're introducing distractions towards your conversion, and it's going to reduce your conversions. Like if you have a video on your page, you absolutely need to test whether the video is helping your conversions or hurting it, because they might just want to watch the video. And if your goal is, I want them to watch this video, that's great. That can be a goal on your page. I would say, like, how does that fit into your customer journey, and where are they going next and things like that. But if that's the goal, that's fine. But if it isn't, why is that video there? And you might say, well, they have to watch this video to understand how this works. And that might be true. But until you've tested it, you don't know. And a lot of times video is one of those things where it is on the page, and even existing on the page, it's one of the first things I would do what's called a content existence test, is see if it's helping the conversion or hurting the conversion. It doesn't need to be on that page. So that's something to think about. Think about things where there's maybe social shares or anything that takes them off the page. You'd be surprised how many landing pages have things that take them off the page and they go somewhere else. And click this link and it takes you over here. It's like, why do you want them going anywhere else? They can't complete the goal of that page on this other page. So keep them on that page. You want to remove as many distractions as you can and have everything on that page focused towards ultimately what that main goal of the page is.
That makes sense, because I do think about things like you mentioned the video. Let's just say the goal is for someone to book a call with you, right? And you have that button at the bottom of the page, perhaps, to schedule that call. But you've got this great video that for some reason is so entertaining that when they're done with the video, they're just chuckling away, or it makes them think about something they need to do. I don't know, but sometimes that video taste of who you are, could actually prevent that person from converting, because it becomes, like you said, a distraction more than a director. It seems like you're going to want things on your page that are always directing people. Like, for instance, if you have this video, at the end of the video, you should say, make sure you scroll down to the bottom of my page and book a call.
Definitely have the call to action, or a call to action
in the video, even if the video is an example of your work or a testimonial of some sort. Interesting.
Well, and let's say if it's booking a call, right? So like the ultimate goal is I want a client, right? I want to sign them. It's something like that. Excuse me, if it's coaching or whatever. How about put the video in that first contact email, or in a quick autoresponder? So like they book a call and it's like, hey, check out this video, I want you to know more. Now you've like used that video to warm them up a little bit before the call, instead of like it was just kind of in the wrong sequence. Instead of like putting it before, but they're not ready for that yet. And instead of warming them up to book a call, it actually like decreased the conversions, because a lot of times people cook a video, they start watching a little bit and they're like, I'm out. But if you send it to them, you're like, hey, at the 2-minute 30-second mark, I talk about this. I'd love for you to check that out. Watch this video. Now they're going to click on it, and then now you're going to get a better watch time, because they're going to at least stick around till that point, probably to see what you say at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And hopefully they finish the video if it's enticing, keeps them going. And now you've kind of warmed them up towards having that phone call. So, but again, a lot of times you get these little sizzle reels or highlights or testimonial reels, and those are all great. But a lot of times they can actually take away from the conversion, which could lead us to what we're going to talk about next, which is friction. We've talked about this before, but there's lots of elements of pages that can create friction. So when we talk about friction, it's anything that is slowing people down towards the conversion, right? And I know, Marissa, you've talked about like, are we making them jump through a lot of hoops, right? So um, a lot of times, how this will kind of manifest itself on a page is like excessive form fields, right? If you're requiring a lot of information, if you're making them fill out a lot of forms, if you're making the prospect, maybe it's in the form of copy. Sometimes we overdo it with copy, depending on how complex the buying decision is. Sometimes we can overdo it with images, and like I said, with video a lot of times. And we can kind of go into depth a little bit more about images and video, but um, again, if these aren't helping them bring value, if they're not bringing value to the copy, then it's probably distracting from the copy and creating kind of a point of friction. And if there's an overabundance of copy, that can be a friction point. There's maybe too many bullets, or you can overwhelm with too much information as well. A lot of times you got to keep it simple. Again, unless it's something that's super complex, or there's a lot tied to it. Like I can think of maybe a good example is finding a nursing home, right, or some residence for like your aging family members. That's kind of
Mhm.
a more of a complex buying decision. You're going to want a lot of information, so they're going to need to put a lot of information leading up to that first phone call. You're going to want to know testimonials. You're going to want to know
I am gonna wanna
are
see videos of the
you're
real
gonna
page.
want to see what the place looks like. Yeah, that's a
Mhm,
good case where you're gonna want to see a lot of pictures. Like what do the rooms look like? What does the whole facility look like? What are some of the
mhm.
other what do they have available? So that's a lot of things. And then there's also like we could get into the emotional stuff that's going on there too. I don't want to go too deep into it, but it's like,
Yeah,
how do you make them feel secure? How do you make them feel good about the decision they're making? Right? There's probably going to be some guilt there. There's going to be some
mhm,
other things there that like those are going to be in the way of them mentally from making that decision. So like, how do you
right.
remove those things and help them discover that this is the right place to put their aging loved one that they're going to
Mhm,
be taken care of. So um, that's an example of just something that might be a little bit more complex as to like what Halloween costume am I going to buy, and maybe that's complex for some people. It can be complex for us. We're like, what do we want to dress our kid as for Halloween? But obviously, it's not going to require as much information, as much copy, and as many things on the page. But you also want to consider what is the goal and what is the action, right? If it's just starting booking that call and just starting that conversation and taking that first step, the prospect might not need a whole lot of information for that, right? To get started. But they're probably going to look around. They're probably going to poke around and look at some other things as well. So that's when you can kind of get into branding and the feel and kind of how they're going to experience, your brand and your site as a whole, and how all those things can kind of contribute towards the conversion as well. But yeah, anything that's distracting, anything that's going to trip them up, um, but that's typically how kind of friction will manifest itself on a landing page. It could be excessive copy, um, excessive form fields, things that prospects will have to do. All those things can add
and
to the
even,
friction.
from previous experience with all kinds of websites and landing pages, even the ease of use can be something that can trip up a conversion. I know that I was recently looking at a hotel site and it was so clunky, Colin, and it was not in American dollars. And when I tried to click, there was a button to convert the rate to US dollars. It told me,
Okay.
this conversion rate is not available at this time. And I'm like, what do you mean? You're giving me the option to take these,
Yeah.
French Polynesian dollars and turn them into US dollars. I'm like, why wouldn't it now not work? You know what I mean? There were just so many steps and things to go through
Yeah.
that it basically made me say the heck with this. Like it's giving me a headache. So I think the ease of use for a landing page, if
Sure.
there are tasks that
Keep it
need to be
simple.
done, the tech side of things are also very important.
Well, and how did that make you feel when you clicked that button that you tried to do the conversion? It didn't work. The money conversion? How did that make you feel?
What's crazy? I'm looking at a beautiful resort hotel that's the photos and the videos are making me feel like I'm on a beach somewhere, right? I'm looking at honeymoon things. But then to have this frustration creep in. I'm like, well, this just defeated the whole purpose. I should be excited about looking at this website, right? They've hooked me emotionally. These videos are great, but now I'm like, it made me feel dumb. It made me feel frustrated. It made me feel anxiety. I'm like, okay, well, everything I just got a taste of in terms of wanting to be on this property just all got berated. And now I want
Yeah.
nothing to do with this hotel, basically, is how I
Yeah.
felt.
Wow. Yeah.
Isn't
So
that
you were
crazy?
like, I'm done just from those few little things that were not right. Like they got the front part right, it
They
sounds
got
like.
the emotion, they
Yeah.
got the appeal, they
Yeah.
they spoke to my need baby. I was like, "Yes, I wanna be on that
You're like,
beach by that
I'm
infinity
gonna be
pool."
getting those massages. I'm gonna be
Yes.
drinking the drinks on the side of the
And then I was
pool.
like, "What do you mean I can't figure out how much it costs? I'm trying to check it out.
Yeah.
I'm considering, is this an option? What do you mean? I don't know how much 130,000 French Polynesian francs are." Like, I need
Yeah.
to know, is this a $500 a
Yeah.
night room or is this a $10,000 a
What
night room? Is this an
what is the
option?
cost on it? Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, there's no way you're clicking a checkout button if you don't know how much you're paying. So you were
exactly,
clear on what you were getting, but not what you were paying, and
and not the
yeah,
value.
of course, yeah.
Well, Colin,
So
I'm
yeah,
really excited, by the way. I know we actually don't have that much more time. So, can we dive into some live optimization? Because I feel like you've shared so
yes,
much with us about not only just CRO in general, but this idea of a value proposition,
yes,
and then also this idea of what the thought sequence is, the sales page flow. But I would love to see you kind
yes,
of talk us through a website live and for us to experience what it looks like from your eyes when you start this process.
sure. And I would just say real quick, the last two things is
Yeah,
when we talked about the value proposition, clarify the value proposition, make sure they know the reason why they should download that or talk to you next, whatever the goal of that page is, and then optimize the call to action, right? And there's ways you can optimize the call to action, make it very clear when they click that button what happens next, what are they getting, and make it all about that CTA. So, all right,
wonderful. Wonderful.
cool. So if we want to look at, we can look at. I'll go ahead and do a screen share here, and we can start looking at Vote Frenzy. So if you can see my screen, let me
I'll
know when
share
that's
that
up.
with the audience. Awesome.
Okay. So this is Vote Frenzy. So first off, I'm just going to give first impressions. Um, I will say I'm looking at trying to figure out what that woman is eating. I wasn't
Hmm.
able to figure it out. It looked like pizza. I'm checking out the Seahawks fans here, and I was noticing the quality of that image. By the way, that was first thing. I'm looking at this guy's tattoo and his watch over here. Um, I'm interested in what she's looking at, which is her phone that looks like it's barely getting cut off here. Um, and again, I'm kind of looking down at what this guy's looking at, but I can't quite see it. I cannot see anything she's looking at. It looks like it's a phone. Um, and then I
I
was
don't know
looking
what
at the
this company
contrast.
does. I will say that. I'm just saying for
Yeah,
my
I'm
journalist
just telling you,
hat.
like, this is what is going through my mind kind of
Yeah,
in real time, right?
right,
I Now you'll notice something about this. I've talked about are these hero images because that's where I'm drawn. I'm drawn to
right.
these hero images. I am almost oblivious to the copy that's in front of it. I'm almost oblivious to everything else that's going on because this is where my attention's being directed. You have a moving image here. So I actually can't process any of the information besides these images. So, and this is a problem you'll see on a lot of sites is they've got this kind of, it's cool, it's slick and kind of has a modern feel, and that's great, but I'm not processing this information. So now let's kind of look at some of the messaging. Increase mobile engagement. Make content, events, and shopping into fun mobile games. Okay, now that's clear. I'm not quite sure what I can do with that, but it sounds like I'm able to make mobile games out of um, things that other things that I can do on mobile. Like somehow I can make shopping into a mobile game. Okay, that's interesting. So maybe this is for e-commerce.
Mhm.
Um, get free research. Okay, free unlimited polls and responses, unlimited private and public polls, outperform experts 137%. Okay, that's interesting. So one things I'll point out as we go through these, it is great that I can actually stop these because on a lot of sites, these would just keep moving and they move at such a rapid pace that you actually just, it's almost impossible to um, to process the information. So at least
Mhm.
I can stop them and look at them and process them if I want to. Like something caught my eye. Maybe it was like, hey, I just really wanted to see what this girl was eating. I don't remember what that was. So
Pizza, I
um,
think. Yeah.
yeah, it's some sort of
Made me
flatbread.
hungry.
So maybe I was just really excited about that. But at least I can stop and look at them. A lot of they move so fast. I'm like, okay, I'll read the next line of text when it comes around the next time, right? People are not going to do that. Now I'm doing that because I'm here and I'm trying to figure out what this is. I'm assuming it's something to do with voting, and there's stuff about polls, so that's related. But this doesn't seem related to voting at all, and this is the first thing I'm seeing. So now it is clear, like increase mobile engagement. Like, I mean, that's something maybe I want to do. That's a goal I want to have. So I might be interested, but there's a lot of things to unpack here. So I'm glad that we can stop it. So going back to this, I'm still not quite sure what I can do here. And if I can get free research, how do I get free research? Like maybe what is the research in? Like what are like I don't I don't know why I would want free research, and I don't know what the research is about. It looks like it's unlimited polls and responses, but like to what? Like is it based on industry? Is it like, I just don't have enough information here as to why I would want this research, you know? Um,
Can I just
so
chime in here too for a minute?
sure.
Um, from a first impression standpoint too, I'm leery. Anytime somebody's like, "I'm gonna give you something for free," I'm like, "Well, what's the MO there? What are you taking from me? Or what do I have to commit to?" You know? So
Yeah, and let's just be honest, like there's a little bit of a value there. Like, well, if it's free, how good can it be? If this is just free research, why is it worth it, you know? So maybe there's a better way to communicate the value of this than rather that it's free, because a
mhm,
lot of times free reduces the value
mhm.
because, well, I don't want free stuff, right? When there's a lot of times when people think of free, I think of like, oh, it's that crappy thing on the side of the road that nobody wants, right? And I know there's those websites that are like, or there's those apps that you can do in the neighborhood and they've got free stuff and a lot of good things. You can get good things from that, but like a lot of
Yeah.
times you think of like, well, it's this junky thing that nobody wants. So is this a junky thing nobody wants? Is this junk research that nobody wants? I don't even know what the research is about. But so I definitely need to know more about what this is. And I would need like some like, how do I get it? Like that's maybe I just like, oh yeah, I got time. I'm ready to like pour through some free research. How do I get it? How do I get this research? Like I have no idea. I'm guessing I have to go hunt for it somewhere.
Yeah, it's not
I'm
clear
not
what
interested.
it's not clear with the 5 scrolling things. I mean, I know that's probably their main buckets of stuff that they offer, but it's not clear on the website where to start. It's
Well, it's some
very,
sort of some
confusing.
sort of app, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It looks like a lot of industries that it can cover. We know there's some sort of mobile engagement game that you can do, but and again, maybe I'm really interested in this. Maybe there's some like motivated, warm traffic coming here.
Mhm.
How do I do? Like, what do I do? It is not clear to me what I do next with any of this. So, and maybe this is just like we're just showing you kind of all the stuff that we have. Well, that's great, but I just don't know what to do with it. Now this is something good in the right direction of an evidential. Hey, we outperform the experts by 137%. I assume is what they mean here, but this needs to be clearer. So like this, they probably know what this means. Oh well, our according to these studies, like this data is better by this amount. They've done this, and it's 137% better. That's great, but I don't, this is not clear to me. I don't understand this. And again, I don't want to sound harsh because I know this is like, we are calling your baby ugly here. This is just what this is. But like, nobody knows what this means. And
Mhm.
this is a perfect example of customer mindset, of the lack of the customer mindset and the company mindset, because the company knows what this means. The people who wrote this know what this means,
Mm-hmm.
but as a customer, you're not going to know what this means.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why it's kind of like it's easily identified. So we can reduce social media costs, activate co-creation, reward brand evangelism. Okay, so it seems like, and I'm deducing here, it seems like I can reduce my cost of hiring influencers or something like that. Because it doesn't, the only social media costs would be ads or paying for influencers. So I'm assuming
Mm-hmm.
it's paying influencers here. But again, I'm not quite sure, so it's unclear, and I don't know what to do with this. I don't know. Like maybe if I am very interested, I'm like, oh yeah, well I've got these influencer costs. I think I can do this. Okay, how do I do that? So again, like, and you wouldn't want to have 6 call to actions here, right? Obviously,
Interesting.
I'm inferring like, hey, you want to put a call to action here. So a
So,
better
hey,
thing to have,
Colin,
yeah,
what would make sense then to me, just if we were to come up with a quick logical improvement, would be not this scrolling thing that's happening, but maybe one photo. That way, if someone needs to take 10 seconds to take in the photo, they can, but potentially just have the bullet points, maybe popping up on just one photo. So by the time you've digested the photo, your attention immediately stays on the text of that page versus like this carousel of new
yeah.
photos and new text because you don't get a chance to absorb it and understand.
And let me ask you this. Do you have
Yeah.
any, because we've been here for a few minutes and we've looked at a few things already. Do you have any better understanding what Vote Frenzy is or how they can help you or provide or what they provide for you? I mean, you know a little bit about maybe what they provide for
No.
you, but do you know
I
what this brand is and what this company is and like
Just that
ultimately
it's
what?
definitely something to do with social media and engagement. And that I mean, I can see that it says the app there. So I know it's an app of some sort.
Yeah, it seems like it covers a lot of different things too.
Mhm.
Like, but I just think she's going to have a better chance digesting this pizza than I am of trying to digest the information here. I'm just
Just for
not.
time's sake, Colin, too, let's just scroll down. So I think first
Yes.
impressions, we're all on the same page, really, is that we
Okay.
don't understand.
So
So
here
let's
we
just
go.
do a scroll.
Play a game. Take a photo of QR code to access the game. So here we go. We've got our first call to action. We're right into a call to action. They want us to play a game.
Oh, I'm doing it live. How about that on my end? Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not really interested in playing it. Like we could scan the QR code and see what happens if we have
I
time for
just
that.
did. It gives me another photo, just an FYI, and it says, what stage of the customer journey is the most challenging? Building brand awareness, getting
Okay.
offer consideration, making the sale, retaining the customer. Interesting. It says vote to get a reward. And then you have to put your email in to see the answer.
Yeah, so I did the USA one. It says, does the USA spend too much on the military? And then I can say yes or no, and then vote to get a reward, and then the call to action. So we could actually go into this whole thing here. So
That's interesting because it takes you away from the website and now you're on your phone.
it does.
Hmm.
So that, and I think what they want to do is like give you an example of what they can do, right? Because this is probably,
Mm,
and now I know what they know in terms of a game. I mean, I don't think this is maybe the same as like the mobile game thing that they're doing, because this really is like a quiz. I wouldn't say this is a game. So, right, like so here's a good example of like a expectation that's set, because when there's a game, you expect something that's going to resemble a game. Well, I get to play something. I get maybe agency over a character, or I get to crush some candy. Like we all
right,
know I get to move Flappy Bird around. Well, that was more of like a quiz or a
right.
poll, right? And it
Hmm.
also gives me an indication of maybe some of the like research information I might be getting, like which is really like how many people think the USA is spending too much money. And
Right.
it's just based on all the people that have clicked either yes or no. I don't know if I'm interested in that data. Now, maybe there are people who are interested in that data from a voter perspective or a politician or something like demographics. But um, I'm kind of starting to get a little bit more of an understanding. But again, look at how like when you think about the cost, there's a high cost to this. I have to pull out my phone. I have to like stop reading the web page, find my phone. Hope maybe it's close by. People that can't find their phone, they're already gone. So if I have my phone, now I have to pull out my phone, use the QR code. If I know that I can use my camera, most people know they can use their camera now. Maybe they have an older phone, they can't even do that. They need a QR code app or something. If
Mm.
they don't have that, they can't even do this. So a lot of things to talk about there, but that's just one. If we keep going down, here we go. Now here's the first indication of what vote frenzy is. I think vote. So here's kind of like our first kind of like value proposition statement. Vote VF enables organizations to engage mobile audiences in a fun, respectful, and rewarding way for free. Everyday people view and share photos, videos, and their opinions for fun, local deals, and prizes. Our integrated mobile engagement services suite goes beyond research and beyond insights by growing sales. Now, wow, that was a lot of information in those 3 lines. Um, so, what is your understanding of this after reading this? Any thoughts here?
This sounds like something for businesses. It doesn't sound like something for a consumer specific. It sounds like
Okay,
a
good. Yeah.
service for a business, and that a business would hire them to help boost engagement, and that they would create this pathway. Like, hey, if you're trying to get more sales from your coffee stand, well, we're going to create a game about coffee. And when consumers answer the questions, not only will you get research, but then they're going to get like discount coupons to come and buy your coffee. It just seems like a
Yeah, and you're coming up with a lot of that from what you've seen earlier too, right? From all the
yes.
scrolling, because some of that what you said is not in here. But yeah, you're right. You're identified. Okay, they've made it clear that it's not for individual consumers. This is a B2B. This is for businesses. That's
B2B.
clear. Um, it's mobile only, so we've identified that. And then they're getting into a little bit more of kind of like what these things are. But I would say this is quite difficult to read, and I don't know if it's because of the size, maybe. But this is a good example of some friction right there. I would say this
Mm-hmm.
copy is difficult to read and understand. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would probably have to read this a few times to get it,
Mm-hmm.
for it to be clear to me. I'm still not sure what this means because they're just saying they're going to grow my sales by going beyond research and beyond insights. Well, this is what I need to know. I need to know what you're doing beyond that. And maybe it's in here, but this is a lot for me to read through it and get through. So I'm just, again, like, the reason I'm nitpicking like this is because highly motivated people that are like
Right.
interested in vote frenzy are going to go through this work and do this. They're going to scan this, they're going to read this, but those like prospects that are a little bit colder and not sure, they're just not
Mm-hmm.
going to. They've got to be able to. This has to be easily digestible. That flatbread, it's got to go down easy. So I'm joking, but I really I really want to help them get more of the right people here. The people that are interested in this service and that need this, you want them to be able to take the right steps and know what to do. So and then
Mm-hmm.
we have some more information about the company. I'm just going to tell you this: we don't care. Like, we don't care about these things. Care what you can do for me. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's what the customer's thinking. So this
Mm-hmm.
is great. Like, hey, you support passions. This is what we do, but they're not interested. They want to know what you can do for them, how it helps them, how it makes their life easier, how it solves their problems. Make it all about them. Just make it all about them. Um,
So instead of
so
what we do, even something so simple in verbiage and copy would be what we can do for you, or how we help you, how
yeah,
we increase your sales.
what do they get? What do they get? So
Interesting.
and I'd go beyond the. This is kind of, again, this is what they do. What do they
Mhm.
get? Well, you're going to get more, like they say a little bit above. You're going to get more engagement. You get more engagement through this service because people are playing these games, people are doing all these
Right.
things. Your engagement goes through the roof, right? That's what they want to hear. They want to hear, oh, my engagement goes through the roof. Then
Right.
you got a different problem, which is like, well, how do I trust that that's going to actually happen? How can you deliver? That's when you show them the proof of that it works. Hey, look at all these metrics. We're 137% above all these other companies that offer the solution. Now you've showed them how you do it, and you've shown them that you're better than your competition in the same time. So it sounds like they probably know where that information is and the right information, but it's just not in the right place, right? We talked about that thought sequence. It's just not in the right place, and
Mhm.
it's not clear. I think clarity trumps persuasion and fancy animations any day of the week. So
This was a really good example because I think you together we immediately saw things that were confusing, weren't clear. And then what's crazy is we stayed a long time at the top because there was so much
there's a
there.
lot
And I
there.
think
There's a
we
lot
talked
there. Yeah.
about that videos or photos or too much information can actually just completely block the course of someone ever making it down to where you may have some more clear verbiage. But for time's sake, I think
Yeah.
let's stop here with Vote Frenzy. I think
Sure.
this was a great first website to look at. Frank, by the way, if you're watching this on the replay, I know he wasn't able to make the show today. We're not saying your baby's ugly. We're just
No.
saying
No.
that there's always room for improvement when it comes to our babies and how we dress them, right? So let's work on baby Vote Frenzy's outfit a little
Yeah.
bit.
And one of the things I love is they have a really nice contrast button here, which is great. It's great to see, like, because my eye's drawn to that. The unfortunate thing about this looks like, I mean, maybe this is good, maybe this is customer. And this is another point of like, this isn't clear to me. Is
Yeah,
this where members of Vote Frenzy log in? Because it says organization login. Is this where I log in with my organization?
right.
Like, I'm that's actually a question in my mind. So
Hmm.
again, that's just a point of like clarity where I'm actually not quite sure what happens if I click that button. You want it to be
Right.
very clear. But it is a good example of like, hey, there's some good contrast going there. So uh, but yeah, the reason I focus in on like all these things is because that it might be subconscious that people are thinking about this girl in this black leather jacket. But
I'm looking at
there's a
her
girl
coat.
here.
I'm like, I really like that coat.
Yeah, the reason I bring it up is because does this add value to getting free research? And I don't think it does. And that's the question, is like, what hero image would add value to this
Mm,
copy? That's the question you need to be asking yourself. And I don't know if the answer is a girl looking down at her phone that I can't quite see in a black leather jacket. And it actually looks like there's some sort of watermark here. I don't know if you can see this. I can't quite read the watermark. So I don't know if that's like there's some sort of subliminal
hmm,
advertising here. I don't know if
hmm.
that was a part of the stock image. Do you see? I don't know if you can see that or if you can see where my mouse is, but there's a
I do
watermark here.
see something there. Yes.
So
Huh.
I'm not sure what it says, but maybe Frank can tell us. So anyway, yeah. Again, I don't want to nitpick, but it's just that's just kind of some of the questions or some of the thoughts prospects might be having when they land on your page, and you can start to try to imagine those things. And that's why it's helpful to have an outsider come in and look at that, and kind of just make you aware of these things. And you can kind of see where people are getting stuck, what's
Hmm.
distracting them and tripping them up from making those conversions.
I'd be interested to speak with Frank and hear his thoughts on how his
Yeah.
conversions have been, just to see if what we're thinking, feeling, observing matches what he is experiencing with his website. Let's move on to the
Yeah.
second website that you're going to optimize, My Starry Chart. I know Jamie's waiting so patiently. She's watching the show.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't
And this
sure
is
if we,
Jamie's company.
I wasn't sure if we had time for that. So yeah, I'll pull that up. Okay. So here we go. This is my starry chart. And the first place I actually looked was this little chat here. So it looks like I've got a chat login. Um, and this is interesting. It's like, thanks for connecting. So this is a good thing. I think people like these interactions, and it's great to have these. I would put this further down. So typically this is, in a location where somebody's ready to chat, right? And that's a good question to ask. Like, I'm not ready to chat with anyone yet. I'm still trying to get my bearings and check out this website and see what's here. But maybe there's people that are coming here and they're ready to chat right away. I don't know that. Um, but and also the little guy here, he's directing me towards the chat. So this is a good example of kind of like iPath and things like that. Like he's literally like pointing to the, I mean, he's pointing in the image here, but like the way I look at interpret his body language is it draws my eye towards the chat. So my question would be, are people ready for this chat yet? And typically they're not. This is something you would want like maybe towards the bottom of the page here, right? Where they're like towards the end and they're like, oh, before you go, hey, do you want to connect to somebody? Do you have questions? So I'm just going to minimize that for now. So here we go at the beginning here in this intro. Let's read this copy here. A 3-in-1 educational kids calendar, healthy habits chart, and skill building game. So that's pretty clear. It's I'm not quite sure exactly what the 3-in-1 is, but I'm assuming it's these three things. And then connect, play, learn. And then I've got two call to actions. I can buy on Amazon Canada, or I can buy on Amazon. So obviously they want me to go to Amazon to make this purchase. So the image actually has what I'm assuming is the product here. It looks like that's very clear. So that's good to see. And the one thing I would say is like, hey, he was drawing my attention now towards the chart, but what you want people to see is this. So is there a way, even maybe just flipping these two sections? So this would be,
I was just
kind of
going to say, if they reversed it and put the photo on the
right.
left, then he's pointing
He's
not only
pointing
to the
towards,
chart, but to what we do.
right.
That's true.
He's
That's
pointing
true.
towards the call to action and the copy. So you always want to
Mhm.
think about when you show pictures of people, where are they looking? Okay, because as humans, we're very concerned with people's faces, people's expressions, and people's eyes and where they look. That's just how we're designed and how our brains interpret data. We put an enormous amount of processing power towards the area of the face and eyes and where eyes are looking. That's why when you have a person in an image on your website and they're looking a certain direction or their head's a certain direction, we are drawn that way. If you're ever in a large crowd and you see people start looking, and you can do this as an experiment. You can do it like, especially if you have a group of friends, because the more people, it makes it easier. If you just start looking somewhere, or if you just stand there and look, and just kind of in your peripheral, just kind of watch other people or have somebody record, watch how many other people look what you're looking at, because they assume there's something interesting going on over there. You're locked in, your attention's there for a reason. And so you'll see a bunch of people look. Or if you ever walk by and you see a group of people looking at something, how many other people are like, well, what's going on over there? There's something worth looking at. So that's very important. Just kind of principle to know as you're looking at things on your website. So where people are pointing, where people are looking are all really important. So yeah, a long explanation to say maybe just swapping these would add to the number of people that are clicking the button. To get a little bit more into the substance, you could, a good way to structure the subheading. So connect, play, learn is good, but what could be better? What could be like, what do I maybe want my child to do with this calendar, or what are they going to get? Like what's the ideal outcome I'm going to get? Because I mean, I've got a 1-year-old. I'm just trying to stop him from hurting himself. So that's my goal. I'm not quite at the chart level with my kid where I'm trying to get him to clean up his room or something like that. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's like get your kid to clean up his room without ever asking. And that sounds like a great ideal outcome. I don't know. I'm sure a bunch of parents would love that. So something like that, maybe, would be better headline. And then how it happens. Well, it's this 3-in-1 calendar that they connect, they play, they learn, and they have a good time. Something like that. So, but it is pretty clear. Hey, this is all about getting this calendar. The Then it talks about designed by experts and parents to support every stage of childhood development. Okay, getting to know a little bit more about what this is. And then it looks like they break down connect, play, and learn. So that's a little bit more information. And then it goes right into reviews. So here we get our first kind of social proof section.
Ooh, I really like, by the way, how you scrolled it, but it's not moving. So it gives people a chance to read it at their own pace. You're not bombarded by a scroll that's going too fast to read. That's nice.
Yes, but I would say I would not move these. So it is nice that there are a few different ones. It looks like, I mean, this is pretty fidgety if I can actually do this. So this
Mm.
is nice that I could read these, but and I think it is cool that it's got the Google reviews here. But I would just probably just make these static and maybe line them up. I mean, I do like that it adds to the authenticity of it, because a lot of times you can have these testimonials and there's a trust issue there where you're like, are these real? Like, and I'm sure you've landed on sites before. You're like, I don't trust it. I think they wrote these themselves, you know? So it's very clear. Hey, these are legit. These are from Google. But maybe stop the motion. Maybe just do 3 instead of 4. So that's good. And then here we go into the more of the like what it actually is. So I'm seeing, and I think this is a good example of kind of like just showing the product, some good product images, you know?
I think this
Um,
is really good, Colin, because with my TV shopping background, one of the
yeah.
first things that we do when we introduce products is what you get.
Yes.
So
Right.
yes, it's the item number, yes, it's the price, but then it's what you get, because people like that value proposition. People want to know exactly what they're getting for the price. So I like that this
Yes.
is because we saw the product at the beginning and it's bright and it's colorful and it's interactive, but we don't exactly know all the little pieces that we're getting. So I like that this is broken
Yeah.
down in a
And this is
visual.
the homepage too, right? This isn't
Mhm.
necessarily the product page. You know, this isn't a product page. I mean, we probably go to, you know, the shop here and we're going to hit the products and more of the landing pages. But this is giving you an overview of kind of the brand, right? Um, so that is good. And then next, and there might be so if we were just to optimize this section here really quickly, um, they're pointing to all of the different elements. I actually find this is a good point of friction. I think it's actually pretty challenging to digest this information. So what might be better is if you move this image to the left or to the right, you know, depending on kind of what your flow is in the eye path here, and then make some simple bullets like it's a calendar, it's got this, it's got this, it's got this, you know.
I agree. I
um,
think that's a good
yeah.
easy fix that will make it more digestible more quickly.
Yeah, and you always want to appeal to the skimmers, right? Sometimes people are just going to go, okay, what's this? Okay, it's a start. I connect, play, learn. That's all they're going to read. They're not going to read these paragraphs. They're just going to connect, play, learn. Okay, there's some reviews. Got it. Especially like busy moms. They're like, what is it in it? Okay, I can see a pen. There's a this. There's that. There's some stickers. Okay. They're like, and think about the questions they're asking. Like, I'm going off the top of the head. Like, is it reusable? Do I have to like reload stickers once a week? How many stickers are in there?
Mhm.
You know, questions that like busy moms might be thinking, right?
Mhm.
And then okay, now here's another product. So it looks like they're kind of just showing some products on this page as well. Like here's some stickers, and here's a good example of hey, they kind of did what we just said. They've got the product, and then they've got some bullet points here, and they're telling you more about these sticker packs. And hey, we've got our first call to action. We can buy these now. Oh
Great.
well, actually, they did have a above the fold call to action here where they want us to go buy on Amazon.
Okay. For
So
time's
yeah,
sake, Colin, because we are starting to
yeah,
get
we're
low here on
definitely going
time.
over.
No, you're perfect.
Okay,
Let's just click to the shop page, because since this
sure.
is a product and it is a B2C, I'm guessing. I think
Yes.
it'd be good to just let's see what happens when we're trying to make a cart and a purchase, because that's
So here
something
we
we've
go.
talked about a lot in our series.
Okay, so we've got a couple products. So again, you can orientate these by based on which ones are going to sell the most. So where are you going to look first when we get to
Well,
this
I think the
page?
Starry chart should be the first product, because that is her hero
And that's
product.
kind of what I'm getting at is this is what we're going to see first. So
Yeah.
this personalized color puzzle for kids, and maybe this is what they want people to go to. Maybe they really want them to do this instead of the chart. Maybe they find that once people buy the puzzles, they start buying more products. Or maybe, hey, once people buy the chart, they start buying more products, whatever that is. We get some stickers and masks. So if we go to the, let's say, hey, I need some sort of calendar and chart for my kid. I'm already there. They have a payment plan as well, which is worth mentioning. Okay, so well, let's go back. So what? So when you follow, so this is what's interesting too, is it's a hover over, and then there's the add to cart. Okay, so we'll do it again. We might get 2 in there, and that's okay. So we're gonna add to our cart. Yes, we did. Okay, so we're in our cart. It tells me what happened. My story chart's been added to my cart. I can go back, right? Which is
nice. Yes.
interesting. So it did take me to checkout. They want me to check out. And then that, let's refresh it here because I think my subtotal should go down. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I got to update my cart.
I like this cart. This cart is very easy and it matches the rest of the website. So I don't feel like we just got bamboozled into something different. It all flows.
Yeah. So there's a coupon code here. It looks like. Oh, okay. So here's a good example of something that. So it looks like there's a field here for a coupon
I didn't see
code.
that.
Yeah. So
that's
that. Why I clicked on this, just to see what would happen. And again, if I'm just going to check out, I might not do this, but somebody might say, oh, I can just click this and it's going to apply a coupon. Oh no, I have to put in a coupon code. So you really can't see this field. So that's one thing is I would,
I think that the box should be above the coupon code.
You think the what?
I think that apply coupon should be underneath where you put the field, because then it's kind of together and it's its own little thing. I think that would make it more clear and make that a little darker. Yes, so you could see it better.
You can't see this. And there's a question of like, hey, what happens here? Like, is there a better place to apply coupon? Maybe that could be further down in the checkout or something. So yeah. So then we get here and they've got a upsell. I can add on some sticker packs, which is interesting. And then there's two options here, really. So one thing to note about this is probably this is a necessary thing to have the update cart. You might want to have the coupon code because you're using special coupon codes. But this is a good example of like we have 3 equally weighted options here. All of these buttons look the same. What we really want people to do, like this is a functional thing, the update card, I get that, but what we really want people to proceed to checkout. And there's probably a better way to say this rather than proceed to checkout, which is like if somebody in a store said that to me, I might just, I don't know, it probably almost stopped me in my tracks. If I walked up and they're like, proceed to checkout. Like, I'm not sure if I want to. This, sounds a little too clinical. So there might be a better way to like, maybe it's just
check out.
Continue to payment, maybe like or enter pay. There might be a better way to go to the next stage there.
Check out of cart, maybe.
So if we go here, here's our checkout, and it looks pretty standard. We've got our billing details and shipping info. So.
By the way, I do want to mention, I just real quick, Colin, people may be listening on the podcast.
Yes.
So I do want to, obviously there's nothing I can do to show you the screen. But I want to encourage you, if you are listening to the podcast, maybe just pause your podcast, go online, even on your phone, to engage.com/live-show-library. And you can find Colin's video show there. And this is worth, watching the video and following along as Colin's explaining so you can understand, this optimization as it's happening. Because obviously, if you're listening to this portion of the show on a podcast, audio only, you're not going to be able to really understand Colin's tips and what we're looking at. It's very visual.
Yes,
so if you're still listening at this point, I just want to advise people to check us out. By the way, Jamie said, "Ha ha ha, proceed." She kind of gets your thought there too, Colin.
Yeah, there might be a better way
to check out. So Jamie's listening though.
Yeah, one thing I do want to mention is this is really good, and this is kind of a nice anxiety reducing thing here. It's like, hey, you're giving us your personal data, and they're saying, hey, here's what we're going to do with your data. Now they are kind of saying, check out this privacy policy. I don't know. People might like to read privacy policies as a hobby, but most people aren't going to want to read that. So but yeah, this is good though to just say, hey, like we're not gonna steal your data. This is used
Right.
to support your experience throughout the website. I really like that. That's a nice little
Mhm.
anxiety reducer thing there at the end. So yeah,
Jamie just said, great feedback. So I
cool,
think this is
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So
Jamie, being that we've got you here live and you're watching and commenting, was there anything that Colin suggested that, maybe you had teetered with changing, or are most of the things that he suggested kind of brand new to you? Because one of the things Colin and I talked about, and even I've talked about with the team at Engage, when you're so close to a project or a product or a process or a website, some things you just really don't even notice them because you're in it all the time. And for a new user, a new visitor, new eyeballs, things that may be obvious to us are completely oblivious, or not even, at the forefront of your mind. So, Jamie, I'd love to hear if some of what Colin has shared were just like big, like light bulb moments for you. So take a moment. I know there's a delay in viewing and commenting, but do share us
sure,
your thoughts, Jamie. We'd love that. Oh, she said, so helpful. Most of them make sense. So
cool.
hard to notice these things when you're so close to it. So yes, so she
Hundred
has agreed.
percent, 100%. Yeah, when you're making it, building it, and it's just, yeah. There's like the best way that we describe it is like there's just a blind spot. We
Yeah, she
just
says,
have a
"I'm
blind
so in
spot.
it, I'm too in it," and so you don't see
Yeah,
these things.
yeah. It is.
Awesome,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's
awesome,
it's kind of the curse of it all, but that's okay. That's why it's always good to have that outside perspective. So
awesome. Colin, it was really neat to see you put into action and to just kind of openly hear your thought process as you're going through both of those websites, because you had very different feedback, I think, on both of them. Jamie's was a little bit more like changing up order and direction a little bit, really. But
yeah,
the key pieces she had seemed to work well. It was more just changing up formatting. I think her substance was really good. You just wanted her to change up the form a little bit,
right.
just to start, as a starting point. And then, whereas the other website, really the substance needed a lot more tweaking, and then you could
Yeah,
obviously go back and work on the form. So that's neat.
yeah,
Couple more comments. Jamie just says, thank you so much. And now she notices how busy certain images are.
sure,
So there you
sure.
go. It's just like
Yeah,
from the outside looking in. There you go. Direct from
awesome.
a CRO expert, Jamie. How lucky are you? And Frank, I know you're going to watch the replay of our show. Thank you both so much for submitting your businesses and your websites. Colin, I know we ran over on time and I know you need to go. So I just want to thank you so much for joining us and doing this really insightful 4-part series about CRO, conversion rate optimization. If you guys want to connect with Colin, you can do that on LinkedIn at Colin Lepiscopo. It's ColinLepiscopo. And if you're interested in learning more about what his company does, visit his website at www.metathesite.com.
Awesome.
Colin, thank you so much again for your time. We look forward to having you back in the future. We've got a lot of really exciting things happening in the pipeline right now with Engage, especially coming into 2022. So
Yeah,
thank
a
you so much for
lot
being
of
a
big
part
changes.
of our incredible show. And we look forward to teaming up with you again in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's really been great. It's been great to be here for 4 parts, and so yeah, been awesome. Thank you, Marissa.
You're so welcome. And we look forward to seeing you again.
Take care, guys. Bye.
What an excellent finale to our 4-part series on conversion rate optimization, seeing firsthand somebody like Colin, who is an expert in this field, work through 2 totally different websites, 2 totally different companies, and really be able to work through how to make those landing pages better and how to optimize them. Okay, I just have about a minute with you. So I just want to quickly share our Engage news of the week, and then I'll share with you our show topic for next week and the show date and time for you to join us. Okay, so this week's news of the week: Shopify is making it easier to optimize e commerce stores for international markets, all from a single Shopify site. So, up until now, if a business wanted to reach a global market, they had to sell on a marketplace or through another retailer. A new solution called Shopify Markets removes the need for a third party, and it allows businesses to sell directly to international consumers. With Shopify Markets, merchants can sell outside of their home country without having to worry about complexities like, I just talked about this today, currency conversion, language localization, providing local payment methods, and duty and import taxes. Shopify store owners can target single country markets or create custom markets by grouping multiple countries together. Shopify Markets is available in early access globally as of just a few weeks ago, September 14th, and it will roll out to all merchants in the coming months. Very cool. I'm telling you, e-commerce is the way to go, and it is the wave of the future. So, very cool way to find out how Shopify is changing to be more globalized, right? Okay, if you guys are interested to know more about our upcoming shows, make sure you visit our Ngage company page on LinkedIn. You can find that. We have the rainbow colored cog and we are NGAGGE. Check out our company page. Give us a follow because that's how you can find out more about future shows, show dates, show guests, and show times. Speaking of future shows, I'd love for you to join us back here next Thursday, October 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern. Our guest expert is Thomas Barta. He's a former McKinsey partner, author of the world's largest study of customer leadership. And he's going to be providing insights on breaking down silos between marketing, sales, and support, and why that is key to the growth of your company in 2021 and beyond. Join me next week for our next show. And of course, connect with me if you have any show topic ideas, or maybe you think you would make a great guest expert to join us for an episode of Digital Marketing Intelligence. We're going to be starting next week our new series, which is Digital Marketing Intelligence specifically for startups. So if you'd like to be a guest on our show, drop me an email at marissa.m@ngage.com. And of course, follow me as well on LinkedIn, the Marissa Morgan. On behalf of myself and the team at Ngage, I want to thank you so much for joining us for another great episode and, of course, the finale of our 4-part series with Colin Lepiscopo. I'll see you back here next week. Have a great rest of your week. And don't forget to check out ngage.com, NGAGGE.com for our free forever suite of premium communication tools to grow and optimize your customer experience. I'll see you guys all next week. Have a great rest of your day.